I was sitting in a Pattaya coffee shop, watching the morning light hit the Sukhumvit Road, when the lawyer's email arrived. The kind of email that doesn't have a subject line, because there's no point. 40 minutes earlier, a Chiang Mai attorney had walked me through the legal machinery that had systematically dismantled everything I thought I'd protected. The machinery was perfect. The paperwork was flawless. And I had funded every single bolt of it myself. My name is Craig. I'm 69 now. For 20 years before Thailand, I priced risk for insurance companies. That was my entire professional life. Understanding exposure, quantifying probability, building structures that should hold when pressure applied. I was good at it. Genuinely good. I had built a reputation on the principle that if you understood the variables, you could construct something unbreakable. I made money because other people couldn't see what I could see. I was the man who said no when everyone else said yes, and it had always been right. I had sat across from clients in conference rooms and explained why their instincts were wrong, why their emotional reasoning would cost them. They listened because my track record was solid, 20 years of solid. When I was 53, I had $392,000 in liquid assets, a remote brokerage operation, and the conviction that I had learned something about how the world actually worked. Thailand wasn't romantic in my mind. It was an opportunity. Lower cost of living, better climate, a place where my money still meant something substantial. I did 12 weeks of research before I went. I read property law. I read visa regulations. I read specific articles about the mistakes other men had made in Pattaya and northern Thailand. I printed out stories, real stories, men who had lost everything, men who had trusted the wrong people, men who had believed their money would protect them. I read those stories and I understood clearly what I was not going to do. I was not going to be one of those men. I had too much experience with risk assessment to be blind. She was not what I expected. Her name is not important anymore. What matters is what she was not. She was not starry-eyed. She was not dependent. She had worked in hospitality for 8 years, which she mentioned factually, not apologetically. She was 33. She had left that work 18 months before we met, and she was teaching basic English at a private school in Pattaya, earning roughly 8,000 baht a month. She was methodical about money. She saved aggressively. When I asked her about her family, she told me she had one brother she helped occasionally, but that her primary focus was building something of her own. I found this refreshing. I told myself I was attracted to her because she was rational, not because she was beautiful, although she was. The rationality felt like additional confirmation that I was making a clear-eyed decision. I tested her the way I tested everything. In the first month, a friend of mine from the US offered me a free ticket to a property seminar in Bangkok, one of those high-pressure seminars where the pitch is Thai property investment for foreigners. I mentioned it to her casually. She said immediately that she thought I shouldn't go. I asked why, which she said because those seminars were designed to take money from men like me, that they always ended with a property recommendation that the facilitator's family member happened to own, and that if I wanted to invest in Thailand, I should do it quietly with a lawyer, not in a conference room with 80 other foreigners. I had disqualified women for less. This seemed like proof. By the 3rd month, I had moved in with her. Nothing dramatic, a simple decision. My rented apartment was expensive for what it was. Her place was larger. It made financial sense. When I suggested it, she negotiated a split in rent increase that she said was fair. She was right, it was. I was beginning to notice something about the way she approached money. She was not greedy, she was systematic. She tracked her savings in a notebook. She knew her monthly costs down to individual items. She had mentioned once that she wanted to own property in Thailand before she was 40. She had said it the way people say inevitable things. At the time, I thought nothing of it. I know now exactly what it meant. The insurance brokerage was doing well. Thailand had low overhead, high margins, and I had been running it long enough that new clients came through referrals. By month 4, I was earning 14,000 baht a week in legitimate commission. By month 8, I had found a rhythm. Work in the early morning, before the heat set in. Time with her in the afternoons. Dinners in quiet restaurants where the food was simple and the conversation was better. She would talk about her day at the school. She would ask me about complicated cases I was working on. She listened. It surprised me how much it mattered that she listened without trying to fix anything. Around month 11, I had made my first serious attempt at dating apps before I met her. This was what I didn't tell many people. I had been on Match and Thai Love and 3 other platforms for 6 weeks. In that time, I had gone on 9 dates. The first woman had seemed genuine until she mentioned that her brother had a motorcycle he was selling and would I be interested. I asked for the sale price. It was the exact amount her brother owed on a gambling debt. The second had been with someone who told me halfway through coffee that she had a school-aged daughter and needed 3 months' rent to keep them in their current apartment. I said no. She suggested I was unkind. The third through 8th dates were men's magazine caricatures. Perfume so thick I could taste it, stories that shifted, smiling requests for shopping money. I had told myself those dates taught me something about how to identify problematic patterns. But then there was the woman who seemed different. She was 31, had been married once. English was clear without being fluent. We had talked for 3 days before meeting. When I came back to my apartment after that first coffee, I felt something shift. This felt like an actual possibility. Not a transaction, not a test. An actual possibility. I remember sitting at my desk and staring at my insurance spreadsheets and thinking about the fact that I was thinking about her instead of thinking about work. I told her this, that I had tried and then stopped trying, and then met her. She had listened to that fully. She had not made me feel foolish. She had asked good questions about what I had learned from those attempts. That conversation, I think, was the moment I decided. Not because she was perfect, but because she seemed to understand what trying actually meant. The proposal was not dramatic. We had been together for just over 2 years. I had finished a 12-week brokerage contract with strong margins, and I asked her if she wanted to get married. She said yes. I asked her what kind of ceremony she wanted. She said a small ceremony at a temple in Chachuengsao with her family and a few friends of ours. I asked if that's where she was from. She said it was a temple her family went to. I paid for everything. It cost 48,000 baht, which included the ceremony, a meal afterward, with flowers and official registration. She did not ask me to pay. I offered. She accepted efficiently. 3 months before the proposal, I had raised the idea of property investment. I had done more research. I knew that as a foreigner, I could not own land in Thailand. I could own a condominium in my name for up to 49% of the building. But I wanted land. Agricultural land had a different set of regulations. It could be leased long-term, or it could be purchased in a Thai national's name with a usufruct agreement. A legal document giving me the right to use and develop the land for 30 years, renewable. I had found a 2-acre plot outside Rayong, about an hour from Pattaya. The asking price was 1.4 million baht. It was undeveloped, but the location was solid. The owner was motivated. The soil was tested. The road access was clear. I had asked her if she wanted to help me with this. I said I wanted to do it the right way, transparently, with proper documentation. She had asked how much my contribution would be. I said I would put up the full purchase price and the development costs. She asked what my expectation was. I said I wanted her name on the title. That way there was no question about ownership, that if something happened to me, the asset would be protected. I said I wanted to draw up a usufruct agreement that transferred development rights to me, and a separate loan document stating clearly that she had received 1.4 million baht from me, which she was holding in trust in her name. I said I wanted a notarized declaration of my financial contribution. I said I would use one of the best lawyers in Thailand for this. She had asked if I was sure. I said I was completely sure. She said, okay. The lawyer I used was a firm in Bangkok with a strong reputation. They had handled property work for 30 years. They had done Thai property law for English-speaking clients extensively. They had assured me that the usufruct agreement was standard and unbreakable. The loan document was standard. The notarized declaration would establish my contribution. They said everything was protected. I paid their fees. It was 65,000 baht. It felt like security. It felt like proof that I had done this correctly. We got married. The marriage certificate was registered. 2 weeks after the marriage, I transferred the 1.4 million baht to her account. The property was registered in her name. The usufruct agreement was signed and notarized. The loan document was signed and notarized. The declaration of my financial contribution was filed. I have a copy of every document. They are all in Thai. I had the lawyer translate them into English. Everything was clear. Everything was documented. I sent copies to my accountant in the US. I sent copies to my business partners. I told them I had structured something solid. Here is where I tell you the part that stays with me even now. After the property was registered, after the documents were filed, after I believed we had something solid, she did not change her behaviour toward me. She was not more distant. She was not more cold. She was exactly the same. Affectionate, present, still interested in my work, still organised about money, still talking about her job at the school. We had plans to develop the land together. She was interested in those plans. She drew sketches of what a small house might look like. We had a wedding trip planned to Krabi for Christmas. Everything felt normal. Everything felt right. And in those months, while I was not paying close attention, while I was confident that the documents were protecting me, she had begun the process of amending the title. I did not discover this until much later. You cannot change the registered owner on Thai land without the current registered owner signing documents. She was the registered owner. The land now had exactly who owned it, and it was not me. The usufruct agreement was unbreakable, I was told, except one usufruct can be terminated if it is not registered separately on the land title. Our usufruct had not been registered separately. It was merely attached to the loan document. And the loan document could be satisfied, and the usufruct agreement could be cancelled, which she did through a separate legal process that required only her signature and a court filing fee of 1,800 baht. The thing about the loan document is that it is a loan. It is not a mortgage. It does not create a claim on the property. It creates a debt obligation. To enforce it, I would have to take her to court. In Rayong. In Thai. With Thai lawyers. The case would take 3 to 5 years. The lawyer I eventually hired to analyse this told me that the likely outcome was that I would win the case, but that by the time the case was resolved, the legal fees would have consumed most of the remaining asset value. He also told me that she had, in the meantime, likely completed the registration process that made her the unambiguous owner, and that she had done it all within Thai law. He said she had probably understood Thai property law better than my Bangkok lawyer did. I discovered this on a Tuesday in November. A third-party insurance broker whom I had been networking with had a Chiang Mai attorney in his circle. I had asked this attorney to review all my documents, just to make sure everything was sound. This attorney reviewed the documents and called me. He said there were some structural issues I should be aware of. He was being diplomatic. He was explaining that I had been perfectly, methodically, and expertly dispossessed. He spent 40 minutes going through each document. He showed me where the gaps were. He showed me what she had done. He showed me that every step had been legal. The specific amount she had retained was 1,347,000 baht in the land value, plus improvements and building permits she had begun to apply for, which added another 89,000 baht in registered assets. Converting this to US dollars at the exchange rates from that time, she had walked away with $280,000 of assets I had funded. There was nothing illegal about it. There was nothing against Thai law. She had followed every step correctly. She had known Thai property law well enough to understand where the gaps were in my documentation, and she had moved exactly through those gaps. She had done it all while still sleeping in our bed every night. When I finally confronted her about this, she did not deny it. She asked me what I had thought would happen. She said in Thai property, a Thai person always controls Thai land. She said I had known this intellectually. She asked why I had thought I was different from the other men. She said she had liked me, which is why she had not done this earlier, but that she could not ignore an opportunity to own assets outright. She said my contribution had been the opportunity, and she had taken it. She did not apologize. She said if I wanted her to pay me back, she would give me the loan value, 1.4 million baht, which would take her 10 years to save. She said the property would be worth more by then, so everyone would benefit. She said I was welcome to stay in Thailand, but that she thought I should probably leave. She was not cruel about it. She was matter of fact. She was the same woman I had married, except now I could see clearly what she had actually been all along. I left. That was 4 years ago. I took a flight to Malaysia first, then to Vietnam. I moved my brokerage operation fully remote. I am still running it. And I am still earning money the same way. The liquid assets I had before Thailand have been restored. I learned something valuable about how I think. I had believed that my analytical intelligence made me immune to patterns. I thought I could see what other men could not. I was wrong. My intelligence was the exact thing that left me blind. I was confident I had the answer before I asked the right question. I had been so sure that I was not like the other men that I had stopped paying attention to what other men had actually learned. 2 years after I left Thailand, I attempted something similar in the Philippines. Same structure, same logic, different woman, same region type, Cebu, which is to the Philippines what Pattaya is to Thailand. I was rebuilding. I thought I had learned something. The outcome was identical. She kept the property. Here I kept my ability to leave. That second experience taught me that this is not about bad women or red flags or mistakes. This is about understanding what these places actually are from a legal standpoint. If you are a foreigner and you want an asset protected, you cannot have it in a Thai person's name. There is no amount of documentation that changes this. There is no lawyer smart enough. There is no contract tight enough. The law in those countries exists to protect citizens, not foreigners. The only foreigners who succeed in Thailand are the ones who have given up on owning anything. They move money in. They enjoy the experience. They move money out. They do not expect to leave with more than they brought. They do not marry women and believe the marriage certificate protects them. They do not sign documents and believe the documents are binding. They understand that they are playing a game where they are always the outsider, and they have accepted this. I am not that man. I wanted more, and I got exactly what wanting more costs in a place where wanting more is not an option. The thing that stays with me is not the money. It is the knowledge that she understood the system better than I ever would, and that she was patient enough to wait until I had funded the education.